Hey friends, welcome back to yet some more Reddit stories about entitled people, insane people, and all that kind of stuff. Hope you're all doing awesome today. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't yet for more Reddit content, and let's get into today's stories. Crazy entitled couple tries to run our delivery van off the road, then demands free catering. This happened sometime last year, but due to it being an open incident, I held off on sharing it until now. In late winter, early spring of last year, I got a call in from the delivery driver that someone had brake checked them on the main road into town, then sped off. Luckily, it was after delivery was completed, so nothing delicate was on board. I take down the plate, vehicle info, all the standard stuff for an incident of road rage. But before I can finish up the call, the brake checkers actually called into our main office. Before I can complete the standard spiel, they immediately cut me off screaming. I say, "Hello, you've reached XYZ Catering." The entitled man says, "Your driver tried to run us off the road." Now I know our driver. They are the least aggressive, most careful driver I've ever seen. They regularly deliver precarious items like wedding cakes without so much as disturbing them. If anything, they're too cautious, not running people off the road. And I say, "Excuse me, sir, but I don't think our delivery van would have tried to run you off the road intentionally. Were you perhaps traveling in the vehicle's blind spot? There are warning signs on the delivery van to avoid lingering in blind spots when the driver signals. This is about as far as I get trying to be diplomatic." The woman says, "Why are you defending them? This is some min-wage idiot that probably doesn't even belong in this country." And the man says, "Your driver tried to kill us and you're making excuses? This is outrageous." "Sir, ma'am, please calm down. I'm just trying to get to the bottom of things." And the man says, "Do you know who I am? I'll shut your whole operation down. You listen to me, you little R-word. You better be ready to give us some hefty compensation, or we'll take this to the police and we'll sue you." Then the woman says, "We have a party coming up, and if you'd agree to cater it for free, we might let this all go." I just pause to try and process this bizarre demand. And the man says, "Hey stupid, did you even hear what my wife was saying? Do you speak proper English?" It's at this point I've had enough. I'd put the pieces together as soon as they'd complained about road rage. "Are you license plate ABDC12345? Gold 4-door crossover?" And the man says, "Are you the asshole racial slur driving that big stupid van?" "No, but the driver called in you having brake checked them just before you called in." The man says, "We just tried to stop the driver because he was a danger to everyone on the road." Well, we will see what the facts are once the vehicle's camera footage is reviewed. Our delivery vehicle is equipped with 360-degree recording. Just let me pull that up. And the man says, "There's no such thing." Unlucky for him, there is. It's similar to the 360-degree Tesla cam. I pull up the footage from the fleet management software, then proceed to see the gold car in question not just, quote, travel in the blind spot. They were fully behind the vehicle, then sped up to try and cut it off when the driver turned on the signal to change lanes. And I say, "Sir, I can clearly see that your wife in the driver's seat sped up after the driver signaled, entering the vehicle's blind spot. Then instead of slowing down when the vehicle started to change lanes, you kept trying to push up until you were forced onto the shoulder." "No, that's not what happened." "Don't interrupt," I say. "I can then clearly see you zip into the left lane, overtake the van, merge in front without signaling at an unsafe distance, then slam on your brakes. After reviewing this footage, I think it's a great idea to get the police involved." The woman is sputtering and trying to come up with something to say. And the man says, "Hang up the phone, Karen." They disconnected the call and I had a good laugh, then made an online police report. I'll bet their insurance premiums will never be the same again. He tried to take my airline seat and lost. I was traveling to Las Vegas to meet with some friends and pre-booked my seat. With this airline, they charge extra for certain seats. I chose a window seat with extra legroom due to my disability, which cost me an additional $45. When boarding, there was a man in my seat with another in the aisle seat. The middle was open. I checked my seat number and then politely told the man he was in my seat and asked him to move. I am a petite female and both men were about 6 feet tall and over 200 pounds. When both opened their mouths, it definitely appeared like they were both used to using their size to get their way. The man in the aisle immediately told me that the man at the window didn't have to move, and I could sit in the middle. After all, he said, I shouldn't make a scene about it. That really pissed me off. I didn't raise my voice and was very polite. I said I wasn't making a scene, but was asking nicely for the seat I paid for. That's when he stood up and attempted to physically intimidate me. But here's the thing. I worked in frontline healthcare. I am used to men attempting to use their size and mouth to intimidate, and this behavior does not work with me. So I decided to take another tactic. I turned my head to the man in my seat and told him that I would make him a deal. He gives me $50 cash and I will give him my seat. I told him I paid an additional $45 for the seat, and with tax it should be around $50. He gives the money and the seat would be his. This is when he turned to me in shock and said, "You want me to pay you $50 for your seat?" I answered, "So you are admitting that you knew this wasn't your seat? I am going to call the airline staff and they can take you to your seat. After all, I booked this seat due to me having a disability," which is true, and you are trying to steal it. Everyone around us turned to look at him, and they did not have kind looks on their faces. He turned 14 shades of red and moved to the middle seat. He pulled his hoodie over his head and sulked for the rest of the flight. His friend did the same. The moral of the story is simple. Do not use size and gender to bully others. It may just backfire on you, and make your next flight a lot less comfortable. Allegedly making obnoxious neighbor crash his car. About a year ago, my neighbor got his son a new Mustang GT for his first car. Day one, he has been peeling out up and down our street day and night, turning our once quiet neighborhood into a drag strip. One day he ran over our neighbor's dog. She refused to call the cops even though I got it on my security camera. I have 3 little kids, and for the past year I've been terrified one of them would be next. This kid is such a jerk. When I tried speaking with him, he just told me off. The parents are even worse. For a week after talking to them, the father peeled out right in front of our house to make his point. I had to call the police to make him stop. After our HOA denied putting up speed bumps, one of the other moms suggested we put up signs all over and blast the kid on social media. I didn't agree to post our security camera footage and didn't think the signs would do any good. I almost sabotaged his car though. But then my neighbor found this child at play sign that looks like a real kid. We all bought one and thought it was funny how the other neighbors would slow down and even stop causing mini traffic jams. Well, I decided to place my sign next to this bush that sits on the corner of our yard where the road bends, so it is facing the straightaway so the kid will see it from down the street. Well, a couple of weeks ago, we all get awoken to this huge crashing sound. We ran outside to see the Mustang smashed into a power pole and the kid crawling out his window. I immediately called 911, then ran over to check on the boy, only to be called a stupid bitch, as he is ranting and raving about his car. When the cops come and ask him if he has had anything to drink, he just snaps, "No, pig, I haven't. It's this stupid bitch's fault." He starts yelling, stepping towards me. The cop stops him, and after a minute he calms down. So I thought. When the cop asks him how much he has had to drink, the kid looks at me, eyes all wide, and says, "It's her and her stupid sign. I thought that thing," pointing at the sign. "I thought that was one of her stupid kids about to run into the road." In the middle of this rant, the ambulance showed up. They checked the kid out, who refused treatment and proceeded to tell them off, seemingly more concerned about his car than himself. The cop asks the kid if he would perform a sobriety test, which he fails miserably and then gets taken to jail. Update. Later on, the kid came over and apologized, quote, for being so offensive and annoying, seemingly indifferent to everything else. Apparently, he has been home recovering since the following morning. He was charged with misdemeanor DUI and reckless driving, and was released on recognizance. The parents didn't even have to bail him out. I thanked him for his apology and shut the door. My landlord thought he could pull one over on me, but ended up learning the meaning of "you should have read the fine print before you signed it." Some context: I live in Germany, which has extremely strong tenants' rights. In Germany, it is common to have indefinite rental contracts, which do not have a set end date and remain in effect until termination, usually by the tenant. I have been living in my apartment for about 8 years now. About 1 year after I first moved in, I got a letter from the company that owns my apartment building. In short, it said this: "Dear Mr. X, we are canceling your existing rental contract. If you wish to continue renting this apartment, please sign this new contract, with higher rent, or move out within 30 days. This scared the hell out of me. I was living in a city where the rent prices were skyrocketing, and I had only just managed to find a long-term apartment I could afford. As soon as I began looking at my options, it became clear that I was either going to have to fight what was essentially an eviction, or move back to the US and start building my life again, just after I had finally found some stability. After I asked around a bit, someone tipped me off to something called a Mietverein, which is essentially a non-profit group that advocates for tenants' rights, and gives its members the opportunity to get legal advice regarding their rights as tenants. I looked one up near me and booked it over to their office. I explained my situation, filled out some paperwork, and went to speak with the group's lawyer. I showed her the letter and my current contract, and she looked it over for a few minutes without saying a word. After what felt like an eternity, she looked at me and said in her most diplomatic German legalese, "You have nothing to worry about. This letter is bullshit." Admittedly paraphrased, but that's what it boiled down to. She then turned to a page of the contract and pointed out a single line in it. No changes may be made to this contract unless both parties consent to the proposed changes. In other words, as long as I refuse to sign the new contract, they can't do anything to me. The group's lawyer then sent a letter on my behalf to the company. I received a copy of it for my records, and essentially, it told the company that they would find themselves in some major trouble with the government if they continued to pursue the matter further. About a month went by and I heard nothing further. Then one day a letter from the company arrived. The company basically admitted defeat and tried to cover its tail by saying that the letter was sent in error by an employee who is no longer with the company. For the next 7 years, it became an annual ritual. Company sends ominous letter telling me I'm getting kicked out. I forward the letter to the Mietverein, and the Mietverein's lawyer sends them a letter telling them to stick the letter where the sun don't shine. And then after attempt number 8, the lawyer sent them another letter telling them to cut the crap and stop sending these letters every year. I haven't heard from them since. And that's going to be it for today, friends. Thank you for watching, I appreciate it. And as always, if you enjoyed, be sure to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for more Reddit shenanigans. So take care, and I'll see you next time.